The next great resource for local weather is now available.
DigitalWeatherDesk.com is your source for up-to-the-minute local weather. Add DigitalWeatherDesk.com to your favorites, download our app, and follow me on social media. The Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. Hey everybody, welcome into the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Tuesday. Happy birthday to my brother. He's older than I am. And today, well, I was going to say he's even older than I am today, but he's the exact same amount of time older than me every day. So it doesn't really matter. But happy birthday anyway. Take a look at I-20 as we move through this evening. Today's forecast made possible by Century Next Bank. What's next for you? Visit cnext.bank for more, the exclusive banking partner of the Digital Weather Desk. Hello, Louisiana Cooker on YouTube. Hopefully everyone's off to a decent start this evening. It's a breezy evening, and usually the winds die down at night. I would expect them to likely stay somewhat breezier than normal, if you will, as we head through the overnight hours. Upper 60s to near 70 degrees. Temperatures rebounded nicely across the area today. 68 in Monroe, 69 in El Dorado, 70 in Camden, 70 in Jonesboro. A lot of areas did see the 70-degree mark this afternoon, still holding in the low to mid-60s along the Mississippi Valley. Most of us trending a good 10 to even close to 20 degrees warmer than we were at this point yesterday. Sunshine, southerly winds will make all the difference in the world there. Speaking of those winds, again, they're still breezy at times out of the south, generally in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range, and I would expect them to kind of stay in that range through the overnight time frame, perhaps not as gusty as they were today. Speaking of wind gusts in the last hour, we've still seen some 20 and even close to 30 mile an hour wind gusts across the region. So, again, post-ice storm, just be aware that any kind of tree branch that may have held on through the course of the day just may be sitting there and ready to fall. So just be aware of that kind of stuff as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow as well, because the winds will stay breezy through the middle parts of this week. Check the infrared satellite as the sun starts to set on this Tuesday, and we have seen quite a bit of late sunshine. Still filtered sunshine in a lot of areas, but sunshine nonetheless, and that continued to push temperatures. That's why a lot of spots farther west are warmer than the spots farther east, because the clouds were a little bit more persistent for a longer period of time during the daytime hours along the Mississippi Valley. Take a look at the radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. Nothing doing across the radar sites, although we will see some small rain chances sneak back into the forecast as early as tomorrow night. But most of us will just keep spotty rain chances kind of festering in the forecast as a weak front approaches and stalls across the region. Futurecast shows the wind staying breezy out of the southwest as a weak boundary approaches the region tomorrow. Essentially, doesn't make that much of a difference to the forecast. We stay cloudy with the spotty shower potential really ramping up perhaps in the southern parishes as a cold front approaches the area on Thursday. With this front kind of splitting the region, it will set us up for some spots to be cooler to the northwest while others are warmer to the southeast. Really just depends on location, and it also depends on how much progress this front makes into our area. The latest progs actually have it make it all the way through the region and bringing some cooler air in through Friday morning. And then southerly winds push that boundary back to the north as a warm front, reestablishing the warming trend until a cold front moves through on Saturday. Could see a few thunderstorms then as well, and then much cooler air for everybody going into the early parts of next week. So as you look at temperatures here, and I didn't want to get too bent out of shape about the numbers because I think the numbers would be a little bit misleading to you, but just take a look at the coloring of the surface temperatures as we go through the next few days. First off, because some of these graphics are really cool if we don't clutter them up too much with stuff. I even thought about taking the winds down so you could just see the temperatures kind of ebb and flow just in a color map because, again, it's cool to see. And also, it tells its own story if we just sometimes let the data tell the story. So as we go through the next couple of days, that cold front approaches the area and essentially stalls, but then makes some decent progress through the region as we go into Friday morning. Note the colder air, northerly and northeasterly winds across the area. If this were to pan out, a lot of us could actually return well into the 40s for Friday morning versus the 50s that we have indicated in the forecast. Again, I'll just have to kind of wait and see how the data pans out. I know a lot of folks will probably think it's not that big of a deal. Well, it's really the only big headline that we have to talk about through the rest of the week. Then that warmer air retreats back to the north on the back of southerly winds. We're still in flux until that next cold front moves through on Saturday. You can see the northwesterly winds build in, and then the cooler air will follow after that. Check out the water vapor imagery. We're stuck kind of on the back end, or not even the back end. We're kind of just on the outer fringes of a fairly active jet pattern, which is continuing to bring some stronger winds through the central United States, and it also really takes the lion's share of the subtropical moisture through these areas as well. So while we are continuing to see a lot of almost, I would consider it exhaust in terms of cloud cover. What I mean by that is there's a lot of other stuff happening in the area, and we're just kind of getting leftovers. Everything's just kind of just spilling through there. It's not enough to generate rainfall. There's no significant disturbances or storm systems to speak of. So we just get a lot of leftover clouds moving through the region. Look at the futurecast showing the mid-level winds. Again, those stronger winds stay to our northwest, help nudge through the area by that weak front on Thursday, and then we really see the pattern change with Saturday's cold front. Not only does it bring the cooler air back in and the possibility for a lot of us to drop back below freezing by Monday or Tuesday mornings, but look at the pattern behind it. We get out of that kind of westerly, southwesterly, like I said, cloud exhaust, if you will. A lot of people call that a dirty ridge of high pressure, but it's not really a ridge of high pressure in our area, or it is, but it's not what I would consider a dirty ridge of high pressure. And what that is essentially what you're seeing here, where the wind's set up and you're getting a lot of, you're scouring out a lot of moisture out over the Intermountain West, and then you just get a lot of mid and high level clouds left over in its wake. So I say all that because I chased a rabbit and I went into some terminology I didn't need to talk about. But anyway, as you take a look at what's going on as we go through the middle parts of next week, that cold front passes through, and we really set up with a much quieter pattern through next Tuesday, but it's also more westerly and northwesterly oriented, meaning there's not a lot of return moisture, and we're likely to stay dry through that stretch. All of that to say, I really have us in the next 7 to 10 days with very little to any rainfall. Again, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook is above average. That's even with the cool down next week. The 6 to 10 day pattern still points toward above average temperatures. And then the precip outlook as we head into the 6 to 10 day outlook, same story. Below average precip with the above average temperatures. 8 to 14 day outlook, same story. Above average temperatures and below average precip. And that goes all the way into the early parts of March. We just really can't get out of the rut of like one storm system every couple of weeks, and that continues to exacerbate drought conditions. And if we go through the rest of the month of February and then into March and we don't start to see a pattern flip, again, in my mind, the law of averages catches up with us eventually. But I've said that for 5 months now, and we're like, hey, I haven't really seen a whole lot of change. Tina, Peavy, Retha, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining in. Jeremy says, I've been enjoying the overcast skies and cool air, not quite ready for spring. I get it, and we're going to get back into the cloud cover in the 50s for highs and 30s for lows for at least a couple of days next week. And back below freezing for a couple of mornings. Some frost potential. All of those winter type things will make their return for some of us, or many of us, next week. Overnight lows tonight near 60. Clouds will continue to linger. Winds will stay breezy out of the south, maybe becoming more southwesterly. And that continues tomorrow with daytime highs in the mid to upper 70s, quite a bit of cloud cover, and again, the winds breezy at times out of the south and southwest. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. The rain chances are a little misleading because those are the daytime rain chances, 20%, 20%, 20% for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But those rain chances do peak Friday night, Saturday morning. Of course, the forecast for your particular area can be found at digitalweatherdesk.com or on the Digital Weather Desk app. But basically, rain chances vary from 30% in the northern portions of our coverage area across southern Arkansas and far western Mississippi. I-20 corridor is generally about 40% rain chances, and southern parishes and counties are about 50%. That's for Friday night and Saturday morning. The rest of the time frame, they really ebb and flow in that 10 to 30% range, depending on location. Temperatures stay well above normal, highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s and 60s. We will trend cooler behind that Saturday front, which finally kind of changes everything for going into next week. 50s for highs, 30s for lows, with the possibility of some areas dropping back below freezing on Monday morning and a good chunk of the area potentially dropping below freezing on Tuesday morning. Again, the wintertime temperatures are not done just yet. And that's how the forecast shakes out. In the grand scheme of things, this is not an egregiously active forecast. A few showers and storms Friday night, Saturday morning. The severe weather threat looks pretty low for our area. And then we trend cooler for next week, but it looks dry. Temperatures start to rebound a little bit late next week, but also still looks relatively quiet. Kathy says, thanks for the better weather. Makes it better on the damage cleanup, which is true because that's going to continue to take time. I know a lot of folks are getting tired of seeing the tree branches and the leaves and all that stuff all over the place, but I think it also kind of drives home the scope of how impactful this was for everybody. I was driving through the western sections of Ouachita Parish yesterday, and I still just marvels probably. I'm in awe when you drive down the interstate of some of the forested areas, again, between West Monroe to Calhoun to the Shudrint Downsville areas. I mean, some of the tree damage is just it's really mind-blowing. And so again, the cleanup and the restoration process will be ongoing kind of in the forefront for a while, and then there's going to be the cleaning up trees and taking care of trees that need to come down, all that type of stuff. That's going to take months, if not years, beyond this to get everything kind of back to where it needs to be. Wild stuff. But right now we continue on a spring-like pattern. We do kind of get a jolt back to more wintertime feel, if you will, for early next week, but it doesn't really give us, we don't pay any significant consequences in terms of a significant storm system. Fish and Game set out for 8 o'clock tonight. I will join you tomorrow morning at some point with a look at the forecast. It will be earlier than it was this morning. At least I hope it was. I hope it will be. And hopefully the little one sleeps a little bit later than 5 a.m. I could use a nap right now. And I'll get one eventually. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and all the Digital Weather Desk app. I just said that about 5 minutes ago, but it's available for Apple and Android users. Links to download are at digitalweatherdesk.com. Thanks so much for being a part of our community. Thanks so much for taking time out to take a look at the forecast on this Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow morning as we get ready for the middle part of the work week. Your tea time forecast with Frenchman's Ben's out early tomorrow morning. For those that are maybe heading out to the senior scramble at 9, you'll have a look at the forecast, and here's a sneak peek. It's going to be cloudy and breezy, but warm. So enjoy it if you're headed out. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody.